Before we get started on today's video, I want you to look at this little clip of footage from Regen Tank Samuel, and in particular I want you to pay attention to my health bar at the bottom left corner. I think you'll find it quite interesting in a minute. Okay, so I'm green, I'm feeling mean, I'm feeling green, I'm doing fine. Here we go. Excuse me, my computer lagged a little sec there, but never mind. Here comes William Birkin. Oh, grabbed by a dog, unfortunate. I'm in caution. I'm fine. Don't worry about it. Boom. Next, William Birkin, hit me from behind. Caution? Nah, fine. Zombie, swipe. William, swipe. Caution? Nah, boom, fine. Back up. William, hit me. Caution? Fine. Green herbs used? 0. William, still wasting his time on me. Alright, now that he's stunned because of the end of his enraged mode, let's get a little resurrection on the go. Boom, Martin, resurrected. Hey, that bile core looks kind of tasty. Boom, boom, 1.4k, boom, boom, 1.4k, boom, boom, biocore, done, boom, Martin, stun, thank you, good lad. Punch William so he has something to remember me by. William tries to hit me so I have something to remember me by. Hits me again. Boom, still fine, don't care. Bada bing, bada boom, objective done, BOW, time wasted. 8 minutes 58 on the clock. If you want to find out how to do this for yourself with the Regen Tank Samuel build, then keep watching this video. Hello folks, Sinow here, your new home for everything Resident Evil Resistance, and today I am bringing you a build guide for Regen Tank Samuel. So, as the play statistics have shown us so far, Samuel is unfortunately the least popular survivor, and I don't really blame people for thinking that he completely sucks, because he does kinda suck. Especially when you first start playing him and you see all these amazing abilities that other survivors can do, and you're just trying to punch people for what seems like very little damage. But I have been doing a lot of testing for Samuel about how to make this build good. Lots of running into the casino and like getting hit by one zombie over and over, and generally just like theory crafting and working things out. And I've come up with a very interesting, actually I would say this is my favorite survivor build to play in the entire game at the moment, Regen Tank Samuel, and I'm going to show you how you make it and why it's special in this video. So, how do we make Regen Tank Samuel? Well, unfortunately, first of all, in order to be able to do this build the way that I like to do it, you need to get, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong in this, rank 24 for Samuel's Fever skill passive Immortal. So what Immortal does is it continuously restores HP when you're in your ultimate Fever skill form. Remember that Samuel's Fever skill is like a kind of stance that you enter into where he can only punch, he can't use weapons and things like that. But as you're in this stance, you continuously restore quite a lot of HP, and also whenever a nearby creature is killed, you restore an additional chunk of HP. The base cooldown for this is only 120 seconds, that's 2 minutes if you're bad at math. And you can make that even shorter with another passive that I'll show you in a minute. So don't be too scared to use this. Particularly, I like to use this when I'm trying to do an objective and I think the Mastermind might try and shoot me down. Security terminals in area 2, I'm looking at you. Also, if I am about to go into a room and I think that the Mastermind has spawned tons of zombies inside there, try and listen out for zombies. They make kind of weird groaning, dripping sounds a lot. If you're banging on a door and you can hear that, chances are that room is going to be hell. Use this ultimate, then barge in, and it will really, really make it very difficult for the Mastermind to take you down. Moving on to his Dash Punch personal skill, you want the passive for this, Recover. It regenerates health and heals infections after you hit creatures and bioweapons, and it has a cooldown of only 2 seconds. So this punch doesn't really do a lot of damage, particularly as we're not using the passive that allows it to make you do more damage. You really don't want to spend a lot of time punching things with this skill if you can help it, but it is very nice for applying the regen on yourself. There's 2 animations for this. I'll show you probably in the footage later on. There's one animation where you dash and then punch, and then there's another animation where if you're right beside a zombie when you do it, you just punch. And that's a slightly more reliable way of activating the regen if you're finding it difficult and you're like whiffing a lot as Samuel. You can use this right in a zombie's face and he just does the punch straight away and it like applies the regen to you. This passive is really nice for keeping your health topped up, and also it does get rid of infection, and I've tested this myself. You can go from level 2 to level 1 and level 1 to 0 or 3 to 2 with this. So you don't only get rid of the building infection, you can actually go down a tier of infection, which is really nice. Although it is a little bit slower than the amount of health you regen, which is a lot with this. So try and keep this up when you need health back, or try and use it frequently. For Brawler, the passive skill you want here is Blunt Force. So Focus says that it greatly increases damage dealt to nearby things, basically. Whereas the passive for Blunt Force says it greatly increases melee weapon damage but accelerates depletion. So I thought to myself at first here, does that mean that Focus gives you stronger punches but Blunt Force makes your melee weapon damage better? But from my testing that I've done from this, it seems like it doesn't really affect your punch damage regardless either way. And Blunt Force gives you a huge boost to how much damage you do with melee weapons. You'll see when I discuss the equipment in a second that I haven't used any equipment that increases the amount of damage that Samuel does. I find that this passive alone makes it so that you do plenty of damage as it is. You don't really need to boost it up at all. So I would really recommend that you go for Blunt Force here when you unlock it. Just be wary that it does increase your depletion. You go from using like kind of 50 to 70 durability per hit with a steel bat to around about more like 100 durability per hit with a steel bat. So it does add up over time, but my thinking here is if you're doing more damage, then you don't need to hit as frequently so that you use less durability anyway. If zombies die, you're not using durability hitting them. And you would rather zombies die quickly than you sitting there like plowing away at them and they just don't quite go down because Annette has decided to use a regen enhancer and her creatures have ridiculous health anyway and you're just smacking away. Like that little bit of extra damage can be the difference between proccing a finisher and not proccing a finisher and losing even more durability. So overall, Blunt Force is the pick here. Finally, we have Adrenaline's passive. So it says here, for Surge, every enemy kill permanently reduces Fists of Iron base cooldown by 3 seconds, which maximum of 30 seconds. This is Fists of Iron is your fever skill, by the way. You would need to kill 7 creatures to get 21 seconds, pardon me, taken off of the fever skill, which is quite a lot. And 6 creatures would equal 3 times 6 is 18. So it also has a maximum of 30 seconds. I think that the other passive is much stronger, harder to use consistently, but it usually works out. It reduces the Fists of Iron's cooldown by 20 seconds whenever Sam uses his finisher. So the finisher is the like special animation that you get with most melee weapons, not the torch. Bear that in mind, but like with steel bats, 2x4s, where if you hold down the attack button, he like sometimes will do an overhead smash repeatedly and it does like bonkers damage and you see red numbers pop up everywhere. One of the ways that you can more reliably use a finisher, so some of you when you're attacking creatures, you're probably tapping the attack button. Try and hold it down. You're much more likely to like automatically enter the finisher animation, which you want because it gives you tons of iframes and it makes it so you're not getting hurt during it and you like finish off a zombie very easily. Hold down attack rather than tapping it and you're more likely to get a finisher in my experience, rather than just like constantly not doing it because you're tapping over and over. You only need to do 2 finishers and you've already gotten more time towards your ultimate back than Surge. So yes, Surge maybe is like little bits more reliably, but I find overall that Exhilaration is the way to go here if you get good at it. So, what about the skills that we're using for Samuel? So, like I said before, we're not actually using anything that increases Samuel's damage because I think you get enough from Blunt Force anyway. The passes I'm using here for equipment are Bulletproof Vest 3. The reason why you want more health is that you will regen more than you need to anyway. So this makes your regen more valuable because it's regenning more and putting you at such high health. Whereas if you have less maximum HP, then you're going to be regenning past the maximum that you have very quickly and it's not as effective. This makes it so it's like crazy difficult to take down Samuel from most Masterminds. Then you want Batting Glove 2 and 1. Batting Glove 2 greatly increases enemy knockback from melee attack and 1 moderately increases it. This takes up 6 equipment points. And I find that by using both of these, you're much more likely to get the stun animation on zombies so that they don't get the grab or swipes on you. This is quite important for melee characters in particular because otherwise you're very excuse me, susceptible to taking like a quick swipe that like stuns you out of your animations. It also makes Samuel's repeated punches that you can do after using dash punch by tapping the left mouse or whatever, or when you're in his fever skill, very good at stunning zombies over and over. There's nothing worse as a Daniel than controlling, or any character actually, maybe not Daniel, there's nothing worse as an Annette than controlling a buffed creature and then having Samuel just punch it over and over and you get stunned and you can't do anything about it. And then finally we're going with shoulder pad 2 here, which moderately increases damage dealt to doors. This is actually quite important. You'll find that if you don't have a Tyrone, or even if you're just playing a Samuel, you're so fast that you tend to be at the front of your team anyway. And if you're playing against, for instance, like a Spencer who keeps doing level 3 locks to doors because of one of his passives, it really does waste a lot of your time if you don't have at least shoulder pad 1, which I think makes a level 2 lock door go from 4 bashes to 3, which does save some time. And I'm using shoulder pad 2 here to really try and decrease the amount of time you spend just bashing into doors. Obviously you want to be at the front of your party doing this, which you will be anyway. One variant for this build that you could maybe consider doing if you're playing with teammates. So one of the reasons why this build is so effective is because you can dash forward and do objectives very quickly without the Mastermind being able to react. You might want to take Baton here, which makes it so that you get a bonus damage dealt to doors anyway. It also makes it so that you decrease the time it takes to deactivate security devices in Area 2. I would only pick this up if you are with a team that you're coordinated with, so that you can ask for them to let you have the security key card. Otherwise there'll be a lot of situations where a rando will snap it up before you get the chance and then it's wasted. But if you do take Baton, then you can also take, for instance, like shoulder pad 1 to round out the 15 points of equipment here. And I think this actually might be more effective overall. But if you're not with a coordinated team, then I would go with the batting glove 1 and shoulder pad 2. This is fine anyway, even if you are with a coordinated team, this is pretty good because being able to stun zombies reliably is effective. And like I said, you get so much damage that like I don't think you need to do Iron Nails 1 and shoulder pad 1. You could do this though, again, another variant to this build, but I find that at least having batting glove 2 is very important so that you can stun zombies when you hit them. And I find that Bulletproof Vest 3 is enough extra health to really make a difference, because I've tested out how much difference there is after you get grabbed and bitten by a zombie with Bulletproof Vest 3 and 1 equipped, and when you don't have it equipped. And as you can see from this screenshot on the screen right now, it is like a minuscule difference. I really don't think it's worth the points that you spend on it when you could be more reliably stunning zombies here. So you definitely want to go with some sort of boost to your ability to take down doors, but there's a couple of variants for you. My preferred build for all situations though is Bulletproof Vest 3, batting gloves 1 and 2, and then shoulder pad 2. Alright, now that I have shown you how to make this build, let's see some of it in action, shall we? Okay, so I'm going to show you Area 1 of a game that I had against a Spencer. Most people watching this video will probably be thinking to themselves, if you play Samuel against Spencer, is he not kind of weak? And yes, there are some weaknesses if the Spencer is using a very gun and trap heavy build. Remember, not all Spencers have to use gun and traps. But yes, you are a little weaker in this build against Spencer, but I want to show you this video to demonstrate that you can still have a surprising amount of value against him if you just play correctly. Also, it's quite funny.
You should enjoy this. I expect you get bored if you don't have someone to fight.
That guy sounds like a total asshole.
One thing you have to, let's say, embrace when you're playing as Samuel is the fact that you are a complete moron. You're playing as a moron, so you gotta just embrace it. Like I said. Excellent start to the match there. Samuel is very good at dashing into traps, unfortunately. You might also notice that I'm not playing this game live. I'm watching a pre-recording of myself after the fact. This is because when I tried to record some footage of this build in action for you guys earlier, I accidentally had the microphone audio track muted. So I'm now doing post-commentary. It'll be fine though. It allows me to be a little bit more analytical, let's say, rather than in the moment. So I noticed that my teammates were in trouble there after opening the door, so I rushed back to help them. In general, I would say my teammates here were maybe not the strongest. I'm trying to take some damage for Martin, and I fail. So I'm getting shot. Remember, by the way, as a mastermind, that you can actually shoot Martin's traps, which he just did there. He shot one of Martin's traps out. So there we go. Finally, January got the hack off so we can pick up the 2 downed teammates. Thank you for that one, January.
You saved me.
A little quicker perhaps next. It did have a shield, didn't it?
Makes the dream work. I'm warmed up, ready to go.
I have to admit, I kind of love Samuel's voice lines. They're so cheesy. I love them. Like, Tyrone is good, yeah, but he's very, like, po-faced all the time. I left that green herb there because I won't need green herbs as much.
The virus stirs inside you.
A huge advantage for Samuel in this build is that you're so economical with like healing items a lot of the time that you can actually like leave resources for your teammates, and that's also part of the reason why it's so effective. Because every green herb I leave behind is another potential green herb for somebody else to pick up.
Could have found that.
So my teammates are having a real rough time here. They don't seem to be moving very fast, so I've decided to run off by myself and do the objectives. Because I'm Samuel, I can do these very quickly with my dash. Some of you may be wondering earlier why I didn't decide to equip the skill that makes you run faster, that costs 5 points. And that's because you can just press E over and over and use that dash repeatedly, and it makes you move really quickly. So it kind of negates the need to have anything that makes your normal run speed faster. And I don't think increased move speed makes your dash faster either. I think it only makes your running speed faster. So again, managed to avoid the trap. Dashing over here. The Mastermind is probably too busy looking at the others to do much. Got the lung.
Go ahead, take it.
I also got a minigun from the supply zombie. Can I just say, as somebody who plays Mastermind a lot, having supply zombies spawn like on top of survivors and they just pick them up immediately is kind of BS. I think we should change that. Shoulder pads doing work. Allows me to get through that door. We're running out of time. Anybody who's played the first area of the lab knows that there's a really big divide between where a lot of the key items are and where you can put them into the diorama. So you can run out of time quite easily here. And the reason why I didn't stay up there is I suspected that the third part was down here. Some masterminds will put the third part down here in their preset to try and fool the survivors into staying upstairs for too long. That's it. 3 puzzle pieces, all done by me. Soloed the entire thing basically myself, whilst my teammates distract Spencer. I don't know what they're up to here, so I've decided to run back and try and help them out, get rid of the zombie and regen my health. You see that stun there right before the zombie grabbed me? There we go. Bit of a close one. Yes, come on, come on. USA! Got him. USA! USA! So, not a very strong area one because my teammates were having some real problems there. But the Martin redeemed himself later on, and we actually ended up winning that one against the Spencer. And I just thought that was a really interesting little snip clip for you there of how even if you don't have a lot of creatures to punch to regen health, you can still use Samuel's inherent speed and his ability to regen to make it so that you can run through areas against the Spencer who's using guns without like accidentally going down because you ran out of green herbs and health, and you're so fast that you can actually outrun bullets as well. So he may not be the best against a gun heavy Spencer, but he still has use, and I want to make that point for you. Anyway, let's move on to the next bit of footage. Okay, so second piece of footage for you all here. I'm going for like a one area only format to try and make the video a bit quicker and to highlight things that I think the build is very strong for. But if you prefer me showing like an entire match, then do let me know about that in the comments. But regardless, this is the same bit of footage that I used at the start of the video to show you Regen Tank Samuel in action. So you'll get to see it again here. Area 3 of a casino with some quite high leveled teammates, but also quite a high leveled Annette. One thing I would say about this build is that with the torch, you can actually you can't do the finisher, pardon me, on zombies, and also the torch has like 0 knockback as well. So I don't think the torch is as strong for this build of Samuel as a lot of people think. A lot of people pick it up in Area 1 if they're using a melee heavy build, but I actually don't like it as much. And instead I decided to pick up like a million 2x4s, which I'm currently like sorting my inventory for there. I will always try and get a sledgehammer for Area 3 because it's so good against biocores and zombies, even though the durability of it is quite low with this build, so look out for that. But it takes down biocores so quickly, I think it's worth it. And that's one of the strengths of this build, is that you're like really good at making biocores go down fast. Even better than Tyrone is. So trying to help my teammates here. They're good teammates, and as like the kind of tank of the group, I'm trying my best to make sure that I'm in the action as much as possible so that they can get to objectives safely. Remember, try and hold down the attack button when you're using melee weapons so that you're more likely to trigger a finisher move. I still have my fever skill ready anyway here. 5,000 damage on that dog. Wow. That was impressive. 5,000. Jeez. You can see the January here has the gold outfit, so yeah, she has some experience. But yeah, so this build is so economical that you often end up with quite a lot of money by Area 3 if people have been picking up credits, because you're not using green herbs a lot. And even if you run out of melee weapon durability, like if you're completely spent, you can use Samuel's Fists, particularly if you've used your fever skill. The amount of damage you do with punches, especially your E-punch, is like fairly high, even without the passives that make the punches even stronger. So here's me. This is a clip from the beginning of the video again. Just completely wasting Birkin's time here. Like, he hit me multiple times there and I'm fine. Yes, you do lose time when you get hit by like guns and stuff. So don't get too carried away. Yes, it's great to take hits and heal up the damage, but you do still lose time when you get hit, remember. But, oh, it's so useful. Like, Birkin basically has done nothing here because he spent a lot of the time like harassing me and I just healed it up. Fine. And this is, remember, a rank 22 Annette. This person is not a complete baby. You do get rid of infection with the E. It's not as powerful as the amount of health you heal, but it can also reduce the amount of times you need to use blue herbs. Another reason why this build is so economical, which is really nice. Unfortunately, with biocores, you can't use your E-punch to activate the health regen, so I didn't use my E on the biocore there to start the regen because it doesn't count. It only accounts when you use it on creatures and stuff. With the E-punch in general, there's two animations for it. There's one animation where you dash forward and then punch, and then there's a second animation where if you're like in a zombie's face and you use it, you just immediately punch them. So if you're having difficulty activating the regen punch because you like dash forward and you punch and maybe it like doesn't trigger according to the game, or you like narrowly miss the first hit but you get the follow-up hits and it doesn't apply the regen, try getting right in a zombie's face and then pressing E and you'll just immediately punch them and that will apply the regen. Here's me stun locking a buffed armored zombie on the floor by just aiming down and holding down the attack button. So stupid. Look at this room full of zombies that could have been a nightmare. I just don't care. I'm completely unperturbed by it. Rank 1 infection, whatever. Look, completely got rid of infection there. From rank 1 down to 0 again. Oh, it's so good, this build. I love it. Standing in infection, but I'm fine. The zombie giving a little goodbye kiss with the knuckle. I was a little low on resources by this point, which is why I was punching a lot. So I bought a couple more repair kits before I got rudely interrupted by that hound. But no matter. Easy peasy. Grab from behind. I'm in low caution here. 2 infection. About to go up to 3. Not great. I want to make sure that I take this guy out. So here's an IV. One of the reasons why you might want to still consider taking a torch if they have IVs. I dropped mine earlier. Look at how much health I'm regenning because somebody busted me out. But I did have a Molotov, thankfully. Still caution, still rank 2 infection. Going for a quick punch here. So as you can see there, I actually primed the zombie with a punch and then used the dash punch to make it easier to hit. Using my ultimate to get my health back. Also punching William. Punch you. Get out of here. Doing a lot more damage because I'm in my ultimate form. Remember, your ultimate form does make your punches stronger. And if you need to cancel your ultimate form so that you can use weapons again, remember you can't use other weapons if you're in your ultimate form. You press G a second time. And you heard Samuel go, almost there, because the game thinks that I'm trying to activate my fever skill when it's not ready. But what I actually did is I cancelled the fever skill so that I could throw the grenades there. That's very important. If you're in a situation where you don't want to be in your fever skill anymore because you can only punch when you're in your fever skill, remember that you can cancel it by pressing the ultimate skill button again. Sorry, fever skill button again. Alright, just trying to help my friends out so that they can get through this narrow area. Little infection spray from Tyrone. This Tyrone was good. Really helpful. And this is us just setting up for the victory here. Nice and easy. But overall, teamwork. Overall, I think this is actually a kind of slept on build for Samuel. I think it has a lot of like really strong potential for making, especially creature heavy Mastermind builds struggle a lot. Because you're just like a kind of persistent nuisance that they can't take down.
It's okay. Happens to the best of us.
And the more that you're getting hit and healing up, the less that your friends and teammates are getting hit, which gives them more chances to use guns and stuff in the background to take out creatures if you're not doing so yourself. Wow, my computer is really chugging here. I think it's because I'm using the preview within my editor to watch this video in Resolve, so apologies for the frame rate dips there. Would you get off? That's because I have so much knockback on my melee hits. When I punch things, they tend to get distracted, which is nice. And there we go. Basically being the ship.
USA! USA!
USA! USA! Sorry, I had to get it out of my system there. Basically, I'm being the ship in the friendship, and I'm carrying my friends to victory. And that is how you play Regen Tank, Samuel. Very powerful, very strong in the right hands, and not something that you would immediately think is good. So, I hope you found the footage of that interesting to watch, and maybe it has enticed you to try this build out yourself. Let's get the play rate for Samuel up a little bit here, folks. He's languishing at the bottom of the pack, and I like him a lot, so come on. Let's see some of you out there trying this build for yourself. Okay, let's wrap up the video by quickly discussing the pros and cons of the Regen Tank build for Samuel. So the pros are, you negate so many of the Mastermind's plans by healing up the damage done. This also kind of links to the second point I made here, that you're very fast with your dash move. You're very fast, pardon me, with your dash move. There you go, got it. And you can do objectives before the Mastermind can react. So, as Samuel, you're so fast that you tend to get to the front of the group by repeatedly using the dash. And then you get to go into rooms first with your shoulder pads. And then when you do get into the room, any sort of plans that the Mastermind has managed to concoct, a lot of the time you might take the initial flurry of damage or grabs from zombies or like trap explosions, and then you just heal it up, and it makes it so much easier for your teammates to then get a foothold into the room and start helping you clean up afterwards. You're also doing a lot of damage with this Samuel build, and you take out biocores really quickly, so that's another pro of this. And in general, you'll find that as a Mastermind, one of your worst nightmares is a Samuel who is so fast that you can't reliably shoot him. He like regenerates all of his health whenever you do something to him, and he just like zips around the map and does all of the objectives too quickly. So this is a hard survivor to play against for a Mastermind for those reasons. He's also highly economical. You're not spending as much money on green herbs and blue herbs because you're regenerating all of that health and infection up anyway. And you can leave a lot of the resources like herbs that you find on the field for your teammates to pick up. So you're very economical, and as a result, you can spend more of your money on things like grenades and Molotovs in situations where you need those. So that is also a really nice pro of the build. The cons are that it doesn't work very well, this build, or it works less well, I should say, in situations where you don't have a lot of creatures to punch to activate your regen ability. Unfortunately, it doesn't work on biocores like I stated earlier, and in general you'll find that you kind of lose a little bit of your shine, a little bit of your luster in these situations because you can't reliably heal up the damage that you take. So although I had some luck against that Spencer in the previous footage, you're not maybe as strong in these situations, and you're better against masterminds like Danielle and Annette, I would say, as a result. You also, I think, anybody who's played Samuel and tried something similar to this before will know what I'm talking about. It's kind of fiddly to switch between like punching and using melee weapons, or activating your ultimate skill to get some health back and then trying to deactivate it again so that you can draw out a weapon or like a flashbang and then use that against a BOW. Switching between these different formats of Samuel can be a little fiddly. You spend a lot of time going between different stances, and it takes a bit of practice to make sure that you don't do this at a bad situation. Another thing that can happen is you can use your dash punch to dash into a zombie, and then the zombie is in like the grab animation and they get a grab on you because you've dashed into it. So it maybe takes some practice to make sure that you're playing this correctly in general, and also like not using your punches too much because they don't do a lot of damage, etc. So that's another annoying con. And finally, Tyrone is kind of competing for you for a slot in groups with this build. He offers something very similar. His kick is very good at stunning zombies repeatedly and also knocking them over. He can open doors more safely than you can because he does a kick move rather than barging into the room. He like kicks it from outside, and he also has that amazing fever skill that buffs everyone's defense, and also at a certain rank it becomes like an AoE heal too. So in situations where you can't consistently activate the dash punch, Tyrone is definitely better, I would say. In situations where you can activate the dash punch a lot, one thing about Samuel is you do more damage as him. So I don't know, I prefer using Samuel over Tyrone, but I think Tyrone is maybe stronger overall, I'm not sure. But I'm going to bat for Samuel on this one. I think he does a really good job with this build, and it's a lot of fun to play. So even if Tyrone is maybe like the slightly more meta pick, I think if you play Samuel like this, you can have a lot of victories for you and your friends, and you'll find that it's quite a reliable build if you can punch zombies reliably. There you go. That wasn't very eloquently put, but I think you understand what I'm trying to get at here, folks. But yes, he does compete with Tyrone, and Tyrone does bring a lot to the group. So that'll be it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Do consider leaving a like if you enjoyed this, so that I can continue to make more in future and more people can see the content that I am creating. I'm having a lot of fun making these build guides for you, and I really hope that you found them helpful in telling you how to make builds, or it's given you some inspiration to maybe improve upon them. I'm always open to suggestions. If you think that something else works better than what I said in the video, do let me know politely, please, in the comments, and hopefully we can have lots of fun discussing strategies for this game in the coming months and even the coming years, fingers crossed, because I love Resident Evil Resistance and I hope you guys love it too. Good luck with your games out there. This has been Sinow signing off. Take care. Goodbye.